17104.com. This is Zanetta Wingfield, and you're listening to The Voice 17104.com. The Voice 17104.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're here at The Voice 17104 with Pastor Chris Thomas.
Praise God, welcome back.
Here at Rick's Place. Glad to have you back again. For all you new people that's curious, want to come over and check it out, glad to have you too. Topic today is the time is now. And those of you who are astute, already know that. Okay, all kinds of things happening in the world and in the United States. All right. Before we get into the current events, we had a current event this past Saturday, and I'm pretty sure that my comrade and counterpart, Brother Ron Chappell, on his show probably covered it very well. But I just want to put in my congratulations to Pastor Chris Thomas and his wife for renewing their vows, of love, and may God bless them for many, many more years. You know what I mean? It was a beautiful ceremony. I enjoyed it, but then I'm in the ceremonies. I like the ceremonies. You know what I mean? No matter whose ceremony it is. Because it usually means you have accomplished something. And it is now recognized by God and everyone else. You know what I mean? And I was proud to be a witness to it. You know what I mean? Amen. Just wanted to share that with you. Good people. The time is now. Rudy Giuliani was arraigned yesterday down there in Fulton County in the jailhouse, which he should have been. Then he went outside and started talking bad about Fannie Willis. This guy is amazing. Told her, and told other trumpettes and trumpers outside that Fannie Willis is against democracy by prosecuting him and Donald Trump and the rest of them buffoons. That's just terrible. She's striking a blow against democracy. I had to walk up on the TV and really look at him. Aren't you the one that stood out there January 6th, 2021, at the rally, talking about war of combat to a crowd, you and Donald and the rest of your cohorts, whipped into a frenzy, and then you tell them to have a war by combat? Well, that's exactly what they did. What they did, following your lead, following what you said, and went right up the street and attacked democracy. But now you're going to blame that on Fannie? I don't think so. She's doing her job. She is an elected official. righting the wrongs that you have done, what Donald Trump has done, Sidney Powell has done. You don't remember stepping all over not just civil rights, not just the rights of an American. You stepped on human decency when you attacked that mother and daughter, those election workers in Fulton County. You didn't think nothing about stepping on democracy. And when we say the time is not, the time is now to never let this happen again and correct whatever injustices have been done. You can't sit back and say, oh, that's a shame. It's been a shame. It's been a shame. We heard the latest, and I'm not done with Rudy. Hear the latest? Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who used to be Donald Trump's press secretary, sitting up there lying through her teeth. Every day she got up there, if she didn't have a sandwich in her mouth, she had a lie in her mouth. Got up there and told that bald-faced lie that she talked to the FBI, and she ain't talked to nobody. FBI confirming, FBI don't tell you nothing. But you're not gonna sit up there and lie on us. No. And no, she ain't talked to us about nothing. And then she had to come back and admit that she didn't talk to us. And then these buffoons in Arkansas turned around and made this lying no good. I'm gonna pause there because this is a Christian show. Radio station, and you can't just say what you feel you want to say. Not proper. Elected this trifling, lying Trumpet governor. And you know what you're trying to do now? I know you heard it in the news, you should have read it in the paper. Everybody got you trying to get rid of Black history. She's trying to rewrite American history as if she can. And it's the same thing Ron DeSantis, another Trumpet. He's a Trumpet, he ain't a Trumper. He's a Trumpet. Because he is all over Donald Trump. He's so all over Donald Trump, he can't even run for president his own self. Black history, folks, is American history. That's like you trying to turn around and say you didn't put, during World War II, you didn't put Japanese Americans in concentration camps. So you want to take that out the history book too? Think about that. These people actually want to rewrite American history, talking about, oh, it's teaching people how to hate each other. Look, let me tell you something. No, it's not. What you did is what you did. Now you can feel remorseful about it. You can apologize for it. the actions of your ancestors. But don't ignore it because you can't. Like you will take it out the history book as if nobody remembers. It's passed down from one generation to the next. So you would take it out the history books and say, well, they ain't history books. Can't nobody learn about it. So that means you're hiding it, hiding your actions, the actions of the country at that time, and the perpetuation of that to the day. Oh, it's not the way you change anything. People have knowledge of that. They discuss that. And they find out solutions to that and the effects thereof. That's how you grow. But you sure don't grow by trying to ignore it. Don't work like that, folks. And they know it don't work like that. They're doing this for self-satisfaction. That's all that is. Self-satisfaction. I said. Burning books. Who burns books? Ron DeSantis. Mm-hmm. But if you know anything about history, didn't you watch the Germans burn all them books on the order of the Führer, Adolf? Because he didn't want any other history than the history of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. You're gonna start a new, that's why in the Hitler Youth Group, they were the new history. So all the people that lived thousands of years before you, excuse me, that helped build Germany, long before you was even born, let alone the Führer. He was going to wipe their history away. The time is now to prevent any of that. Any of that. We're not erasing anything. If you did it, you did it. Now do something to correct it. But we're not burning any books. We certainly not getting rid of any Black history curriculums because it's an American curriculum. To cut out the era of bondage is cutting away a piece of American history. You understand that? Do you realize that the slave in the South, well, that was their whole economy? Tobacco, cotton, and anything else they was growing, but those were their major cash crops, tobacco and cotton. Who do you think was planting that? Who do you think was sowing that? The African American slave. What do you think the Civil War was all about? The industrial North. Fighting against the South. And a lot of people, I remember said this, because why was North had their thing, the South had their thing, even though they hated slavery when we read these little books. Well, you got to understand the North was growing. The South had a whole workforce down there. South awful enough, the North came and took the slaves, offering them freedom to work in them factories. South couldn't have that. So they want to succeed from the Union, have our own country, and keep our slaves. Lord said, I ain't gonna happen. We got business to take care of. You're not looking at this right. But we got business down here that, well, thus begins the war. We look very closely. The South looked at it as survival because they didn't have any other means. They wasn't getting out in them fields. But that became their way of life. North had manufactured all kinds of factories going on. They needed people working in factories. It all came down to what? As it always does. Economics. Money. Money. Time is now to do something different. Look at this thing. Totally different. Because you still got people running around this country fighting the Civil War. The South is still fighting the Civil War. Every time you turn your TV on, just listen to them. The sad part about it, they got a lot of people in the North helping them. That is amazing. Fascinating to me. And that's why they love the Donald Trumps and Sidney Powell's. And another thing amazing to me is Rudy Giuliani, he's Italian. You understand what? Think they love you? They still mad at you for Hannibal. Don't you understand that? Get in your history book. You running around talking about, I love Donald Trump. You don't love you. You're doing something, or you were doing something for him. Stop doing it. You just like you use that idiot, Kanye West, and the rest of them buffoons. There is a reason why things must be done differently. Let us sit by and listen to these various news reports, reading online the articles that come from the Times and the Post and the Sun, and even our little paper here, Penline. America's tearing herself apart, and it seems like they don't have a problem with it. But I still ask the question, after you do that, what comes after that? Because war is conflict with bloodshed. But it's a form of politics. Politics in itself is war without bloodshed. But once you can no longer negotiate, once you can no longer come to a reasonable solution, reasonable, some of them are not reasonable at all. And they have this war, but it's the ultimate contradiction. When the war is settled, then what? After you overthrow the Constitution, which means overthrowing the country, then what? See, most of you haven't thought that far. It's just that we got to get rid of this, we got to get rid of that, and we got to make America great again. After you tore it up. How's it great again then? We did it. That made yourselves weak. Then what comes next? I'm going to tell you what's coming next. All the people across them waters that tore down them trade centers. Oh, they're coming. Because you made yourself weak. Fighting amongst yourselves, which is never good. God said a house divided against itself cannot stand. And not just the people that threw down the trade centers is coming. Everybody is. Because you'll be ripe for the picking. Time is now to stop this madness. Or you will regret it. Make America great again. Oh, you both idiots. Every time I think about you. What are you truly saying? And every time I hear that, we want to make America great. Well, there's somebody among you that always comes out and tell the truth. We're going to make America white again. It was never white. Are you paying attention here? Never. We talk about the ruling class. We say we're going to make it. That's not going to happen. And I know it's some amongst you that have reasonably thought and are reasonably thinking. You cannot close the barn door once the horse is out. It simply makes no sense. And going back to the era, the Civil War era, will never happen. Never happen. Think, people. Save yourselves. Save your country. Save your state. Time is now. You'll rip yourselves apart. And I'm back to my question. Then what? Then what? You haven't thought that far. What we gonna do? We done got rid of democracy and the cowboy. You'll be prying for a dictator? You want a Putin? Is that what you're trying to make? The Uncle Donald? Donald Trump? Are you trying to make him another Putin? You want Kim Jong Il? Is that what you want? Because you're going to find out the people that brought about that change never reaped the benefit of it. They do. That the insurrectionists, the January 6th. Look at the history book again. You know what revolution means? You can get all the books in the building, read about the Great revolutions, and what happened to the poor people? Our revolution is brought about by the people that read the books. Always reach out to the people that don't read the books and tell them they gotta make a change. You can live better if you make a change. We need to make a change. I'm sharing with you an analogy that I happen to believe simply by reading the books. So the people, poor people say, yeah, we gotta make a change. So they like to declare revolution and we're gonna go out here and fight the people and overthrow the government. So the people that read the books sit down after all the fighting is done and they're eating and drinking and celebrating. And then somebody in the room says, well, what happened to the poor people? Who made the change? Quiet little man in the corner says, they're dead. And all the people in the room eating and drinking said, oh, when they said a moment of prayer for them. They tilt their heads and then they go back to celebrate eating and drinking. And the real kicker is, folks, 10, 20, 30 years later, it all starts over again. That's the revolution. We have to do things better because the so-called revolution was supposed to help the poor people. Maybe we can find a solution that's less bloodily. There's a time and a place for all things. Think about that. You know when it's a time for war and when it's not. The smarter of you will. Time is now to find a peaceful solution to this problem so we can avoid another January 6th. Because you got some people out there that relish in that kind of behavior and can't wait to participate, not in thinking far enough of what comes after. I think we can find a better solution to get there. It's like the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said about one of his passages, and his passages in I Have a Dream. When they talk about the children of the slave master and the slave come together to find a solution. and a path forward. I'm paraphrasing. Think about that. When you running around here being a mega nut, and your counterpart or the other side want to put a sword through your throat. After all that, what? I think you better get yourself right soon, because the time is now for a better solution to this dismal problem. I think we can do it. That's what I'm working towards. But you got to get away from the Newt Gingrich theory, now being put into practice. We told the Republicans that we were just not an opposing party, the Democrats. They are the enemy of the Americans. You're talking about the enemy. And it just festered and grew good. You gotta understand, this all didn't begin with Donald Trump. All he did was embrace it and push it further ahead. It started with Newt Gingrich, because he wanted, again, masterfully move the party ahead to be the sole party. That's what he wanted. But he didn't count on the resolve of the people in the Democratic Party. That is not going to happen. He tried. Remember the New Deal? New Deal for who? Sure didn't benefit us. Read. Do your research. I thank you for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We have a lot of fun here at Victor Place. I have no problem. We got questions, send them in. Get them. Do my best to answer them in a timely fashion. Because as we move forward in this election cycle, excuse me again, we're going to have exchanges. So there's a lot of good folks out there with a lot of good ideas. I want to hear from. And all you nuts, don't call in here. Don't call in here. Don't send no crazy texts. I don't hear nothing about your guy, Donald Trump. He's an idiot. You know he's an idiot, and everybody else. I don't hear nothing about Giuliani and none of them. We're moving this forward, with or without you. Have a great day.